economy and development in Nigeria and around the world. In this life, I want to talk about the slogan, "No degree for anybody," which was the slogan that the youths of Nigeria came up with at the beginning of the new year. At the beginning of the new year, the young people of Nigeria said that enough is enough with the mismanagement of resources and with the way the country is going. They came up with a new slogan for the year: "No degree for anyone, no degree for anybody." It was like a clarion call to Nigeria and Nigerians that enough is enough. Because Nigeria is a country where a whole lot has gone wrong. Nigeria is a country where nothing literally works in Nigeria. You have to for you to survive in Nigeria, you are literally forced to do the unthinkable. Because the system has been so corrupted, the system has been so abused. And the youths of Nigeria who are bearing the brunt of the mess of the country came up with a slogan for the year to encourage themselves and to mobilize to stop the mess that is going on in the country. But this did not go down well with the authorities, especially the police. And many people were not aware of this development until a few days ago, or a few weeks ago, when the first PRO, ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, when he paraded some suspects in Abuja who are alleged to be involved in the killings in Plateau State and other criminals from around the country. Fox spokesman Olumuyiwa Adejobi, while speaking in that occasion, warned about the new slogan, "No degree for anyone, no degree for anybody." And he said that, look, they are aware that there is a new slogan in the country, that it is the new slogan of the youths of Nigeria. But in their own estimation, that slogan is a dangerous slogan that is geared towards causing crisis across the country. He therefore warned the youths that they should be careful, because the law enforcement officials are ready to deal with anybody who resisted arrest on the ground of no degree for anyone. It was like police announcing that that slogan is banned, that they don't want it to be used across the country. Now, while the police was against that slogan, the army on its own found that it is a useful slogan that they could use to fight criminality in the country. And The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, while speaking to the media about some of the operations of the Nigerian military, took advantage of that slogan and said that, look, no degree for terrorists, no degree for criminals. And you can see that helped in taking advantage of a situation to address a pressing need. So while the police sees the slogan as a threat, the army sees it as an opportunity to reach out to the young people of Nigeria to solve the problem of insecurity. Now, having said this, let us look at why do we need a slogan like no degree for anybody? The reason is obvious. Literally all public services has collapsed in Nigeria. Literally. If you want to talk about the public schools, they are in shambles. You want to talk about the hospitals, public hospitals, they are like, in the words of Sani Abacha, mere consulting clinics. You want to talk about the road infrastructure in Nigeria, they are in a sorry state. You want to talk about the security of lives and property in Nigeria, it is in a total mess. Because the country is literally locked down by criminals and criminalities. Kidnapping has become the order of the day, including in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. We have stories of people being kidnapped at will and all that. They talk about corruption in the government. We are still talking about the corruption in the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry and all that. So a whole lot of things have gone wrong in Nigeria. So there is a need for that slogan, no degree for anybody. What it means, in my understanding of what the youth of Nigeria want, is that the youth of Nigeria say that enough is enough. Enough is enough for poor services that they are receiving, for the poor treatment that they are receiving. And they want a change in the attitude by those who are leading the country. That is not a call for violence, as the police are misinterpreting it. It's not a call for violence. It's a call to say, look, if you are saddled with the responsibility of providing a service, you have to provide that service. You have to provide the service and meet the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians, and not for you to enrich yourself, like the kind of reports we are getting about what goes on at the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry, where the resources of the country that are meant for the poor are being shared by a few individuals in government at the detriment of the masses who those resources are supposedly meant to cater for. So this slogan is supposed to be a wake-up call, even to those who are in government, even to those who are responsible for the management of public resources in the public sector, that there is a need for them to be conscious of the fact that the youths of Nigeria, they have arisen and said enough is enough. Enough is enough. Stop the bad things you are doing. Stop the violation of the law. Stop mismanagement of resources. stop diversion of public resources to private pockets. These are genuine calls that literally every Nigerian and friends of Nigeria should support, because we know that the reason why Nigeria is a giant with a clear feet is because of the impunity that operates in Nigeria. A lot of Nigerian leaders operate with impunity. It is because of that same impunity that is why when people do what they are supposed to do, they are being celebrated unnecessarily. What is supposed to be the right thing to be done, they are being celebrated, which is not so. There are some things that are supposed to be taken for granted. The provision of adequate facilities in the schools is not something that when a governor brought set of chairs in a school, he will carry cameramen and move around that they are brought chairs. Chairs are supposed to be available for all school children in Nigeria. All school children in Nigeria should be able to go to school in well-equipped schools. So enough is enough of dilapidated schools and structures around the country. Enough is enough of hospitals being mere consulting clinics. That's what people are saying. People should do the right thing. People should ensure that the right things are done. It was a wake-up call to Nigerians and to the youths that they should no longer take the rubbish that they are taking from the leaders of Nigeria. The mismanagement of resources of Nigeria, the unprecedented corruption that goes on in Nigeria, that enough is enough. Look at how much Nigerians are paying for fuel in the country. Nigeria is a major oil producing country. Nigeria has large deposits of crude oil, gas, and what have you. Yet, Nigerians pay premium price to have access to these resources, as if these resources were not domiciled in Nigeria, as if Nigeria was not blessed with these resources. When the rest of the world are crying over fuel scarcity, or as a result of the fluidity in crude oil price, Nigerians will be crying too. When Nigerians are supposed to smile. These are all parts of the things that the youth of Nigeria looked at this future and said, no, enough is enough, that they can no longer take this kind of situation, that these things must change, that the attitude of the leaders must change, that the leaders must be held accountable. It's accountability that they are talking about. No degree for anybody. It's a clarion call for accountability. And the police, they are not supposed to be opposed to accountability, because the police as an institution is set up to ensure accountability, to ensure rule of law, to ensure obedience to the law of the country. But we know that the laws of the country are being violated by the rich and mighty, by the elite of the society, with no consequences on their actions. So the youths are invariably saying, enough is enough. No degree for anybody. Don't allow them to continue to suppress you. Don't allow them to continue to mess up the resources of the country. Because at the end of the day, the youths are also bearing the brunt of what is going on in the country. It is because the country is so messed up by political leaders that every little thing is being celebrated as an achievement. You can imagine what happened in the Supreme Court judgments, how the people are celebrating President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that he didn't interfere with the Supreme Courts to influence the outcome of the Supreme Court in the governorship elections. In the first place, is he supposed to interfere? But because the country has been so messed up, that is why things like that will be seen as an achievement or worthy of praise that the president didn't interfere. And who even told those people who are saying that the president didn't interfere? Who are the people saying it? The people saying it are even the governors themselves. Tragically, but this is just to show you how the country was messed up, has been messed up to the level that the youths of Nigeria say, look, enough is enough. And I know that the reason why the police are scared is because of what happened during the EndSARS, when the youths of Nigeria revolted and took to the streets. But when the youths of Nigeria in the EndSARS took to the streets, they were very peaceful. The EndSARS protest was one of the most peaceful protests ever in Nigeria. It started from the social media, from Twitter to the streets, and they were peaceful. They were not harassing anybody. They were literally enjoying themselves in the best tradition of protests in democracies. Everything was moving fine. The EndSARS was a peaceful expression of discontent by the youth of Nigeria. It was very peaceful. It was not violent. The violent aspect of the EndSARS came through the intervention of government, when the government officials and their security apparatus began to infiltrate. There were videos of security people mobilizing touts to disrupt the peaceful EndSARS of protest of young Nigerians. It was just like a replica of what Abacha is attributed to have said, that if there is a crisis lasts a few hours, you know that government hand is in it. If the government had allowed the youth of Nigeria to go on with the EndSARS protest the way they were going about it without interference, it was a peaceful protest. They were not violent. Go and check the beginning of that EndSARS. It was not violent until it was hijacked by the fifth columnist. So perhaps that is the angle that the police was looking at the slogan, no degree for anybody. And they now think that the best thing to do is to warn these youths, better be careful with this slogan or there will be consequences for embarking on it. But the truth remains that this slogan is of benefit even to the police themselves. The police cannot claim that they are enjoying the country the way it is. They cannot claim so. They are also victim of what is going on in the country. Many of them are also victims of the Nigerian system. We have had police complain about their entitlements and other things that are delayed or that are not paid as at when due. These are some of the things that they're supposed to say, enough is enough. No degree for anybody. Don't agree for any reason why your rights are not given to you. Don't agree for anybody who is involved in stealing of the resources of Nigeria. You must call them out. If you are in the ministry, you see a palm sec or the minister colluding to siphon the resources of the country, no agree with them. No dey gree for anybody. Call them out. Leak this information to the media. Let them be exposed. That is what that slogan is all about. If you are working in a ministry and you see that they are doing employment, the employment slots were not advertised, the employment positions were being sold to the highest bidder, they are being cornered by a few religious or ethnic bigots in that ministry or pastor, call them out. No degree for anybody. Ensure that the right things are done. That is the clarion call that these young Nigerians are calling for. They are not calling for harm. They are calling for the right thing to be done. Because the truth remains that in this country right now, for any young person to get a job in government, they have to spend a whole lot of money. And which country does that? That you have to pay money to enter a public service. Sometimes the money you have to pay runs into millions of naira, depending on how juicy, quote unquote, that particular ministry or parastatal is. Depending on how juicy it is. If it is a very juicy ministry, they don't even advertise it. You can see now they are recruiting in the police. At least people are aware that they are recruiting in the police. When they are recruiting in the army, you may be aware of it, that they are recruiting in the army. But what about when they are recruiting in the NNPC? What about when they are recruiting in the CBN? What about when they are recruiting at Federal Inland Revenue Service? Are they advertising it? How many ordinary Nigerians who are living in the villages, who are able to pass through primary, secondary, and now they are in the university, in their community, can be able to apply for a job at Federal Inland Revenue Service in Abuja and get it? How many of such people, if the person studied in a state university, he had his primary, secondary, and did his university education in his state university, how many of them can be employed in Nigeria today by simple application of applying to work for Central Bank of Nigeria? When Central Bank of Nigeria recruit, do they advertise it? How many people have ever been employed in the last 10 to 15 years in Nigeria into the Central Bank of Nigeria? You don't hear about the advertisement of Central Bank of Nigeria. You don't hear about the advertisement of NNPC. But people are being recruited in all these places. People are being recruited on a daily basis. When were the vacancies advertised? These are the things that the youth of Nigerians are against. Because this thing is working against them. This thing is working against the country. Vacancies that are considered juicy are never advertised. And when they advertise, even the money they charge under the table to even be invited for interview or be shortlisted runs into millions of naira. That is why when you go to organizations like the NNPC, like the CBN, they are populated by the children of who is who in Nigeria. People that have been in the epicenters of Nigeria's corruption have populated their children in all these places. Vacancies are hardly advertised. And when they advertise, it's all for show. So the youth of Nigeria who are from impoverished homes, who are bearing the brunt of the economic hardship in the country, they come up with this slogan, no degree for anybody. And they know what they are talking about. They know what they have passed through. And they are still passing through in this country because of the mismanagement of the country's resources, because of the nepotism of the Nigeria's political elite. If in the past in Nigeria, you can be in your community and apply for any job, and you can be invited and you can get employment. Not anymore. Now jobs are traded by senators, House of Representative lawmakers, and other political elites. They share the slots among themselves. That is why Nigerian public service are populated by mediocres, the process that brought them into the office they occupy, was not transparent. Was not transparent. You go to the Federal Character Commission, you witness what happened during the time the National Assembly was investigating the chairman of the Federal Character Commission. How she was allegedly how they were trading jobs. And what came out of it? And that happened in the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, who was touted as the champion of anti-corruption in Africa. If that could happen under Buhari, you can imagine what is happening now. And Nigerians will continue to live with this situation. So that is why the slogan, "No dey gree for anybody," is important. It is a clarion call to say, look, we cannot take this anymore. And the youth themselves, the ball is in their court. Because at the end of the day, they are the future of the country. They are the ones that will determine the direction of this country. They are the ones that the new economy of the world is in their favor. But they have to assert their right to be able to function in it. They are the ones that understand the digital age that we are in. But they can no longer continue to be mere suitcase carrying young men, for those who are lucky, following politicians around for the crumbs, or to be political touts causing mayhem and violence all over the place on behalf of the politicians. They have to realize that the politicians are taking advantage of them, that it is the politicians that have turned them into poverty that they are in. The other time people are complaining about the fact that the youth of Nigeria are into pool betting or sports betting. I don't know what is the reason for the youth embracing sport betting, but one thing I can tell for free is that it is because the hope of the youths have been dashed by the political leaders, and the youths are now looking at sports betting as a quick way of breaking poverty jinx in their families. Of course, many of them have seen that sports betting is all a question of chance. It's a probability theory game. It's very difficult to beat the game. But the reason why many of them are in it is because the politicians have pocketed everything that could have created jobs for them. Everything that could have given them opportunity had been hijacked by the political elite and their children. And these people have been forced into criminality and into sports betting. And if there is anybody to be blamed for this, is the political elite who have refused to allow the right thing to be done in Nigeria. And that right thing needs to be done. And that is my understanding of no degree for anybody. It is to ensure that the right things are done, to say enough is enough with nepotism, with criminality, with the stealing and looting of public resources, that enough is enough. That is my understanding of what the youth of Nigeria are saying in No Degree for Anybody 2024 slogan. Thank you for being part of this live. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you and yours.